In this video, we will discuss about fossils and its types. So, in this video, we will clarify about what is fossil and what are not fossils. So, means every dead organism, should we call them fossils or not, or any other terms we use to define them. Here, we will discuss one by one what is fossil and what are their types. Before going to fossils, we first these are my contents, but we will discuss about what is the classification of organism and who is the scientist. First, the Linnaeus. Linnaeus is a Swedish scientist. He proposed the classification of organism. And what are the classification? There are six classes. We can He divided into six kingdoms: eubacteria, archaeobacteria, protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So these are their characteristic. That is eubacteria and I will take the pointer here. Yes. Okay. The eubacteria and archaeobacteria, these are prokaryotes, and all these are protista, fungi, and plantae, animalia. These are eukaryotes. Prokaryotes means these are primitive organism, that is single cellular. And these are some characteristic. These are unicellular both, and all these are multicellular organisms. And out of these, some are heterotroph and some are autotroph. Autotroph means they creates their own food. They prepare their own food. Heterotroph means they uh, they depend upon other organisms for their food. So we will go to next slide. So this is the definition of fossil. A fossil is a preserved remain of one's living organism, but the time period should be at least 10,000 years old. So here, as we defined as, fossil is a preserved remain of one's living organism. So the organisms who lived in the past, their remains, that it may be bones, teeth, or anything. It is known as fossil, but the time period should be 10,000 years old at least. So the term came from the Greek word fossil. Fossil means dug up. So as we found the fossil, how we found the fossil? We found the fossil. Sometimes fossils are not exposed to the surface, so we have to dig up, or we have to clean up the sediments lying over the fossils. So the term is and most of the fossil we found most of the fossil in the digging side. Suppose in the mining sites, in the road cutting side, or any canals. So during the exploration of any canal, so we are getting fossils. So the term came from the fossil, that is dug up. Then fossil remains or imprints of plants or animals from prehistoric times by operation of natural condition. So natural conditions should be there. So the preservation of the remain of the animal or plant, it should be, the preservation process should be natural. That is not like artificial. So the mummies we found in Egypt, should we call them fossil? No, these are not fossils, because they are preserved by artificial means, by some chemicals, putting some chemicals into the dead bodies. So these are not fossils. Fossils are found in sedimentary rock, asphalt deposit, coal beds, and sometimes in amber. So where we can found fossils. Fossils we can found in mostly sedimentary rocks, because in igneous and metamorphic rock, as we know, igneous came from lava, which is very high temperature and pressure. In that condition, fossils cannot survive. And in metamorphic rocks also, fossils cannot sometimes we found traces, but in most of the conditions, fossils will not be there, because of the high temperature pressure operates on the rock to metamorphose the sedimentary or igneous rock. So it is found in mostly sedimentary rock. And asphalt deposit, as we know, this is the impure variety of hydrocarbon. So asphalt deposit also, if some organism got trapped in the asphalt, we get it as fossils. And in coal beds is a very good good media to preserve the fossil, as we found most of the plant fossil in coal beds. And in umbers, as we know, the resins or umbers we that is getting out from the tree, it can sometimes the insects got trapped into the umber and it got preserved. So the scientific study of fossil is known as paleontology. So then we will go to next slide. What is the types of fossil? So depending upon the kind of organism, as I told, the plant fossils and animal fossils. The remaining of plants or any parts of the part of the tree is known as plant fossil. Similarly, any part or any whole organism of the animal is known as animal fossil. Then size of the organism, of the organism, it can be divided into macro and micro fossil. Macro fossil, those we can study in hand specimen, or we can found uh, in laboratory condition, or some it can be visible into naked eye. The most of the characteristic we can study by naked eye, but in microfossil a microscope required. Without microscope we cannot see a microfossil. Here, as you can see, the first otozomaids ventinatus. This is a plant fossil, and then this is a ammonite fossil. This is also a animal fossil, but first both of them are macro fossil. As we can study it in hand specimen with or naked eye. But the low, these three, these are ostracod, microgastropod, and foraminifera. These are microfossils. These are microfossil. We cannot we cannot study it without microscope. So these are microfossils. Then next slide. Mm, Here, body fossils. What is body fossil? Body fossil, is a preserved physical remain of imprint of all of the whole organism, or some parts like bones, teeth, cell, or leaves, in case of tree. So these are body fossil. So mainly body fossil is the physical remain of the organism should be there, not any trace or trail. Like trace fossil, we know this we will discuss later. But body fossil means the organism's presence should be there. Even impression, the organism's impression should be there, or whole organism or any part of the organism should be there. But this should be direct evidence of the organism. This is a body fossil in some museum. And then subfossil. As I told before, what is suppose a dead organism we are getting from sand or from sea beaches. There are several gastropod and bivalves dead cells will be there. So what should we call them? Should we call them fossils? No, these are, a term is there, subfossil. These are remains of animals and plants preserved in rocks or sediments less than 10,000 years. So so those animals um, which have been which have not been preserved for more than 10,000, it is less than 10,000, we can call them as subfossil. As we can see, these are some subfossils we recovered from the Puducherry coast, Bay of Bengal. The first one is gastropod and bivalve cells, and this is ostracod cell, and this is foraminifera cell. Then chemical fossil or chemofossils. So what is chemical fossil? I'll take this to here because many of the things will be not visible. This is chemical fossil. So organic molecules, isotope, or biochemical signatures such as paleoproteins, amino acids that trapped in the sedimentary rocks. That indicates about the existence of the prehistoric life. These are known as chemical fossils. As you can see, a article is there, good article is there, where steroid biomarkers found in Ediacaran fossil. So this is steroid biomarkers also uh, is a type of chemical fossil. In chemical fossil, only some chemical that related to life that got preserved. No any other like hard parts or anything will be there. Only some chemicals. Like chemicals means some paleoproteins, amino acid, like here steroid biomarkers. That kind of thing will be there. Then trace fossil or ichnofossils. So what are trace fossils? Trace fossils are record of biological activity rather than preserved remain of the actual organism. So these are formed as a result of day-to-day activity of the organism, such as walking, calling. Here what we can found the um, trace fossils are the preservation of the activities, not the whole organism. So when, as we know, the snakes are crawling on the soft sediment. So suppose a snake was crawling on the soft sediment, and the soft sediment got the impression got preserved, as means it got hardened and got preserved. So what we know as known as trace fossil. There are various types of trace fossil. We will discuss it later. Then coprolites. What are coprolites? Coprolites are fecal material. Fecal material means these are dung. As you know, cow dung, like the excreta material. So these are excreta material of different organisms. This is also a type of trace fossil. It gives direct evidence. So what we can found from this, like studying these coprolites. From by studying the coprolites, we can found the animal behavior such as predation, what they are eating and their diet. They are omnivorous or herbivorous. And yeah, the word coprolites came from the word copros. Copros means dung and lithos means stone. So when this dung get hardened and become a stone, this is known as coprolites. This is coprolites from the Mendoza, Argentina, and this is the site name. I am not reading this. And then gastroliths. Gastroliths, also known as gastrolids. Gastrolids means these are stomach stones or gizzard stones. These are stomach stones or gizzard stones. What are these gastrolids? Gastrolids are used to as you can observe, some pigeons after having food, they used to swallow some rounded stones. What because it will help them to digest the food, as it will grind the food inside their stomach. So in the past also, dinosaurs and some other organisms used to do same thing. These when after the death of the organism, inside their stomach we found these stones. These are termed as gastroliths. So so the animals lacking proper grinding teeth use internal stones mashed through the plant material. They often pick hard, smooth rocks like quartz and resist quick dissolving. Then pseudofossil. So what are pseudofossil? Pseudofossil or false fossils. These are not actually not fossils. These are some inorganic materials, such as the crystallization of some minerals, but it resembles a biological remains. As you can see here, the manganese dioxide crystallizes in a dendritic pattern, giving rise a false impression like a tree, remains of a tree or branches of any plant material. But this is not a like like a organic object. This is purely inorganic object. This is pseudofossil. Then index fossil. This is a very important. Index fossils are for those fossils which have widespread distribution but limited time span. So what is the criteria, main criteria of defining index fossil? It should have short time span. The species should live for a short time span or short geologic period, and it should have wide geographic distribution. So the species should have distributed throughout the world or many of the places of a country, so we can connect the rocks or we can correlate the rocks. And then abundant, they should be their number should be large. It should not one or two fossils we are getting, we should not make them index fossil. It should be means millions of fossils we are getting, then we can make them as index fossil. Then distinctive, they should be identified easily, there should be no confusion. So confusing fossils, so we should not take as index fossil. Only those who those fossils which are very clearly established taxonomic criteria, these should be taken as index fossils. Then there are some examples: trilobites for Paleozoic, ammonites for Mesozoic, and gastrolites for Ordovician and Silurian rocks. So in this illustration, you can see what is the characteristic of index fossil. It should be very short lifespan. As you can see, this light part. It's suppose a fossil we are getting in this light part, but it should be wide geographic distribution. So it is a index fossil, and what I have told, it is only illustration. So it should be abundantly found. As you can see, trilobite for Paleozoic, ammonites for Mesozoic, and gastrolites for Ordovician and Silurian rocks. Thank you.